What's up, everybody? It is Joe Herrera coming to you live from fabulous Las Vegas, Nevada. We are live on Facebook, Tamara. We're live on YouTube. We're all over the place today. Tamara, tell everybody where you're from.
I am coming to you live from Dearborn Heights, Michigan.
You don't say Detroit. How far out of Detroit is Dearborn Heights?
We're super close to Detroit, to be honest with you. Parts of Dearborn Heights actually border directly to Detroit. So we normally what we say would be like a suburb of Detroit. So
yeah, not many people know this, but Marshall Mathers, aka Eminem, was a high school boyfriend of yours. No, I'm just like, where is 8 Mile? Is 8 Mile a real thing, or am I just so ignorant to Detroit?
Absolutely, it's a real thing, and it is in Detroit. And from my office, probably about 20 minutes away. So Detroit's a huge city, so
Right.
it's very big geographically. But yeah, that's a
When
real thing.
when I come to Detroit and I need to, we're
You
going to 8 Mile 100%. We're going to film there, and it'll probably be quick, like hop out of the car and just film something really quick and get back in. But anyways, I digress.
do.
All right, so Tamara, like we talked about this before we went live. There's so many brokerages like ours. Tell the story of like we were so excited when you and your group decided to join Real, and then we don't often say like, "Hey, it's been 6 months, 8 months, whatever. Like, how is it going?" And so I hit you up this morning, and I was like, "Let's talk about how it's going. Like, what you wish you would have known before coming over." So tell everybody a little bit of background wise, like you've been in the industry for a while. You've done huge stuff. You just got a big award I saw yesterday, a major award, as Christmas story would say. So tell everybody a little bit about like who you are, who your group is, kind of, what's the backstory?
Sure. So first of all, thanks for this invite because, this is not something I'm totally comfortable with, but pushing past that. So I have been in real estate for 20 years, just had my anniversary in March. And to be honest with you, I started a brokerage 9 years ago. So, 11 years before that, I was a Remax agent, and that's all I ever knew.
Us
And
too. Taylor and I were Remax people forever.
yeah. So decided once the foreclosure market started to turn around to form a brokerage, but at that time it was just me. I had been heavily working with international investors during the downturn, and had a whole big business that I had built out with that and with property management and all of those things. But my passion was always real estate. So as soon as I started to see the market turn around, I just decided that I wanted to take that business and move it into my own brokerage. At that time, I was like, I don't know where this is going to go. I don't know what's going to happen. And it just started to kind of grow from there. So at the time that I joined Real, we were about 60 agents. And as you know, I mean, I'll share because that's what this is about. It took me a very long time to make that decision to come to Real. It was a huge decision for me. I was very pro independent broker and
Mm-hmm.
didn't have a mindset of that there was anything else out there that could ever make me want to do anything different. So when we met, it's been just a little bit over a year ago. I didn't even give it a thought. I was like, no, Real, whatever, and then I just started to get more involved and built some amazing friendships with Angie and with you and Spring, and just started to meet all these incredible people. And the pieces just started to fall into place. And then when I looked at the opportunity that was there, particularly for us in Michigan, it became almost like a no-brainer, which is crazy because
Yeah.
I remember when I made the decision, everybody was like, "What? Like, what? Are you the same person?" And
uh,
like, yeah. And so we actually joined back in March, and we didn't really officially kind of get things rolling. It took us a minute just to get everything in place. Again, having a large team and trying to, get everybody on board with this major decision that I had made. Probably took us till about May until we were really fully rolling. And now we have, I think we're up to about 33, 34 people in our network. And it's been incredible. Like for me, this year has been life changing in so many ways. And it's been incredible, obviously, on the real side, because like when I met you, I remember that you guys were at about 6,000 agents when I met
Yeah,
you just over a year ago. Now we just hit 12,000.
I
So
know, it's crazy.
it is crazy. So I love it. I love everything. I'm so happy that I made this decision, and I'm just looking forward to continue to build it.
So let's talk about this, because I love when I haven't met anybody yet that's met on farmersonly.com, but I have met people who met on like match.com and things like that. Our association is super abnormal in the real estate space. I remember Angie hit me up and said, hey, like she was doing a lead conversion class in Las Vegas for Las Vegas real estate agents. I don't even think she realized it coincided with Inman. And she was like, I had a broker owner from Michigan hit me up and said, hey, I'm coming out to Vegas for Inman. I saw you're hosting this class on Eventbrite, or I can't
Yeah.
remember I think it was
Yeah.
Eventbrite. And, she wants to come to the class. And what do I do? And I was like, tell her to come. She's like, well, she has like 10 people with her. And I was like, tell her to bring all 10. So that was super unique. Is that something, historically speaking, that you do? Like when you're going to an Inman, are you like, let me see what else is on Eventbrite? Or how did that
No,
happen?
so actually we had more than 10. I think we had close to like 17 people. So the
Wow.
the story behind that, and that is just like the incredible part about our story, is that I normally bring my team every year to Vegas, and we have been growing a lot, and that was our biggest group, and I really wanted to do something a little more meaningful, that was more conducive to what we do on a daily basis. So Inman
Yeah,
is amazing, and I go twice a year and I get so much out of it, but my
sure.
team not necessarily doesn't get necessarily the benefit. So I began to have this, idea that I wanted to see what I could put together for us in Vegas. And that search, it's the craziest thing, was on an Eventbrite. After we had tried some other avenues and weren't coming up, I was like, let me just look and see who's got something going on. And I came across Angie, and I was like, that's the girl. That's the one. I don't know what made me think that. So I sent her that crazy email, and then we had a Zoom call, and there was so much synergy, like from the first time
Right.
we talked. It was pretty crazy, even with like our softwares we were using and things like that. So you were so gracious to allow us to come out, and coming to your office and seeing your team and seeing how you do things and the level that you guys operate, was the beginning of a big journey for me, because I honestly had not seen what I really felt comfortable there, and I felt like this was the environment that I was trying to
Mhm.
create. So right away, that opened my eyes to like, there's so much more out there than what I've seen, even in being in the industry at that point at almost 20 years.
So when people switch brokerages, it sucks. Like I think in the title of this, I said, switching is hard. Switching sucks if you're like an agent.
Yeah.
When you own the brokerage, it's a whole different level, right? That's like saying
Even
like,
more.
yeah, moving as a college kid is terrible. It's like, well, try moving with like 4 children and a spouse. So it's not an easy decision.
Mm-mm.
I'm sure you thought about it. You talked to advisors. Like, can you look back on a moment of like, I've just got to do this, and I know, you know, it won't be 100% adoption. Like,
Mm-mm.
what are the like? Was there a moment for you?
So if we're talking to team owners and broker owners, obviously we know the struggles that we have every day. And for me, the moment was a conversation that you and I had, which was, where all the energy that you put out on a daily, all the energy that you put into trying to make people productive and trying to
Mhm.
make people successful and things like that. What are you doing for you? First of all,
Mm.
it started with a conversation you and I had like that. And then are you going to limit your opportunity because maybe everybody doesn't come on board? And it was a big thing for me because I built to get to 60 people that were loyal, and we've been from the beginning to the end, and no end yet, thank God. But I just really felt so it was just a lot of anxiety about making the decision because I knew a lot of them were not going to. I have a lot of older agents, a lot of very seasoned agents, and we had commission structures in our brokerage that make that um, very comfortable for them. So I knew this was not going to be where I would have 100% adoption. But then I just started to look at the opportunity, and I started to look at what does the future hold, not just for me but also for my agents, because as a independent broker, it's tough to reward them for bringing on people and helping us grow, and I've always tried to figure out a way to do that, but the margins were just never there for me to be able to do this.
Right.
So and for me, there was also some income things I had to sort out, because again, I was very pro agent and having super low splits with super high value. So, i.e., expenses. So,
Right.
all of that had to be like really calculated out. But at the end of the day, it really boils down to if you're not willing to, even if sometimes you have to take a step backward to move forward. And I'm a person that I will do that if I think that it's, there's a reason to do that. So for me, the moment when I just realized that in order for me to grow this the way I've been trying to grow it for at that point almost 9 years, it has to be with something like this and with people like you for support, and the people that I have met through being a part of Real have inspired me in ways that, after 20 years, I'm not an easy person to inspire. Meeting such, the people that I have and just seeing what everybody's doing, like it just, everything lined up to where I was like, even if, and this sounds harsh, and my team is probably watching and they know I love them, but I had to literally say to myself, even if everybody left, which I knew would not
Yeah.
happen,
Right.
would I still want to do this? And my answer was yes. I think the opportunity is that great and it's that amazing. And so I just went for it, but it wasn't an easy conversation. And, that day, I literally had people leave the room because we held an event where I made an
Yeah.
announcement crying.
Yeah. So, because this is the question, right? And the banner just popped it up. Are broker owners allowed to grow too? And I think this was the principle that you and I talked about because we're so used to in our industry with the way the brokerage model is traditionally built that an agent comes to you and says, like, Tamara, I want to grow. I need a better split. I need better opportunities, things like that. And then you work with them on a growth plan. But what they want from that broker owner is stability and like, you're there to serve me. And that's not a negative thing. I've been at multiple brokerages, I've owned multiple brokerages. I think collectively we all understand that, right? Well, this new model of the Zac Efron, we're all in this together, is an acknowledgement that like Tamara's allowed to grow too. And the caveat is Tamara's allowed to grow so long as she also helps everybody else grow. But the challenge I found, and maybe you've seen some of this too, and it bears itself out. Now you're 6 months in, and I know you've got examples of agents who are like, dude, this is rad and we're crushing it. It's really hard. I don't know if you've ever watched The Office, but there was this moment where Michael Scott was like settling a dispute, and he was like, let's do a win-win-win. Like everybody wins, right? And we're just not used to that because of the adversarial relationship that is expected from traditional brokerage ownership. Agents are used to going like the tug of war. If Tamara needs to make more money or a new opportunity, she's going to pull from us, the agent. And if we, the agent, need a better split or more opportunity, we're going to pull from Tamara, the brokerage owner. And then you are exposed to this world where at Real, that choice doesn't have to be made.
Right.
Like Tamara can grow and agent can grow. And like there is, that was what I was obsessed with, is that removal of the tug of war. It's no longer Tamara's growth versus agent's growth. It's like us growing together. So maybe talk now, 5-6 months in, where is that bearing out in your world? Like, where are your agents coming to you and going like, hey, I was out on all of this, but wow, this and this and this has been awesome.
So what's incredible is, when you get to see, again, I'm very giving, and I love to see that I have agents who are now able, because what I did personally, and I don't know that everybody would make this decision, but with my team, I said to them, if you had previously brought somebody into the brokerage, as we join Real, we will layer you up the way that
Right.
people came. So for some of my agents, they immediately started earning revenue share and were excited. There's some that are just, they said to me, which is obviously something that I take to heart as well. We don't really care about any of this stuff, but we're going to join just because you want us to, right? Which
Right,
is
right.
awesome. But what you said earlier, I wanted to touch on for a minute. It's amazing how you can put something so good in front of people that they become skeptical.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
they're like,
It's
it
too good
doesn't
to be
make
true.
sense. It doesn't make, why would you want to do this for us? So it
Right,
just doesn't
right.
make sense, right? But now that we start to see people who are benefiting in huge ways, not just financially, but they're excited. Again, yesterday or 2 days ago, we had the announcement about 12,000 agents. They're
Mhm.
feeling that they're a part of that, and that's super exciting. And also that people that maybe were the naysayers in the beginning are now a little more curious and a little bit more believing. And that goes even with me, because, when I first made my announcement, I would say if I made any maybe mistakes, it was that I probably didn't present it as well as I could have, but that was by lack of, like, I was at my day one too, right? It's because, like,
Well, and
you can
that's,
tell
you
it
probably
when you
see,
don't know it.
and you probably seen the Instagram meme. I love it. That just says, what I didn't know when I was a kid is that I was watching my parents grow up too.
Mhm.
And like my wife and I talk about this all the time. So we've been married 21 years. Our 19-year-old is in Africa, living a great life. Our 17-year-old's a senior. She doubts everything we say. Our 14-year-old is a freshman. She really thinks we're full of crap. And our 11-year-old, we're still heroes. But what they're going to find out in 20 years is they're going to look back and go, I was just watching my parents grow up. And so as a brokerage owner, where we're expected to just know everything, we look at something and go like, this is great for my agents and for me and for everybody. But to your point, like our launch wasn't perfect when we moved our brokerage. Your launch wasn't perfect. Teams that launch aren't perfect. And like we're all learning. And so there just has to be that little bit of
Humanity.
grace, that little bit of humanity behind it to go like, because here's what it comes down to. And I'm curious to get your take on this. I believe that trust and competency are everything. And
Mhm.
so like there were probably people who were like, Tamara, this all sounds crazy. We trust you. We believe you're competent. So let's do it together. Right? I mean, would you say
Oh,
that
it
that was part of it?
happened. I mean, I literally had that conversation with one agent in particular, and then when it was time to transfer the license, they were just like, this is the most painful thing I've ever done, is to switch and you're not my broker anymore. And I'm like, but I
Right,
will, like I am still here for you. It's the same. So for
right.
me, it was the biggest part was that they had so much fear that this other entity, we'll call it, would come in and change everything. And we're like super connected here and we have this amazing culture, and just I'm super involved in their day to day, in their transactions and their support. So that they really felt like that they were going to lose that. And so time obviously has shown them that absolutely nothing has changed. It's gotten better and we've grown and we have more people and the energy is up, and people are more excited and have more access to if they're a person who wants training, if they thrive in learning, all of these things are now like more plentiful, and I'm a better leader. I have, like, again, this year has been incredible for me on a personal journey by just learning so much and becoming again a better leader. So my team as a whole is performing at a whole other level, and so now that's where, again, it's like you had those people that were just totally blocked out from even wanting to think about it. Now they understand, and I've, through time, been able to kind of calm the storm. But it was
Yeah.
rough at the beginning. I'm not going to say it's not, it
Well,
was rough.
because everybody's concerned about culture, right? Like culture matters.
It does.
Um, and I think there's the perception that, and I know now, here's the truth. Our culture um, did not stay the same. When we went from us against the world, four walls of the office, we owned a company called Love Local Real Estate, like love local versus everything. My attention was largely just these four walls. So our culture grew, but the people who, like, I think if you asked Angie, she would go like, "Oh yeah, this isn't Kansas anymore, and Joe is no longer Toto, right? Like this
Mhm.
is the way he's changed. Like he's not Toto, he's not Dorothy, he's not the Wiz. Like he's somebody completely different. But that doesn't mean it's a bad thing. Like
No.
our culture is like if we were still four walls love local, Angie would not know Tamara.
Right.
And Angie for sure would not be in business with Tamara. And Tamara and Angie would not be going to Spokane, Washington to speak together, right? Like, and
Yeah.
so it's like the culture has to be able to grow. So I guess we've got like 6 minutes left. I got two questions. How has your culture grown as a company, like as a team? Like, how have you been able to say, we're going to take the good parts of this national brokerage, but we're going to adapt it to, our world in Michigan and what and who we are? Like, what does that growth look like for you?
So again, I think, from an attraction standpoint, they never even saw value in that, other than, yes, if someone asked them, now they're able to look at, oh, I'm building something not only for my brokerage, not only for my team, but also for myself and my family. And they, this is for the agents. They also have, because I've elevated, obviously, like doing the things like even being on this Facebook Live and going to these speaking events and going to these different events. I come back fired up, and then I fire them up, and I'm leading on a whole different level. So now they're doing things with their business that they've never done before. For example, social media, like videos. We have so much more emphasis on some of the things that we were just selling real estate before and not really doing a great job of that, but not really doing some of these things that have now become a part of our culture and what we're
Right.
doing here together. And it's because of our affiliation with, Real and the people at Real.
So, in the last couple of minutes, do this for me, Tamara. It is a year ago. you were you were exposed to the culture at Real. You were exposed to the business model of Real. I respected so much, and I told you during the process, like Tamara, I respect you taking your time with this because this is not an easy decision. What do you wish you could have told 22-year-old Tamara, the 23-year-old Tamara now knows. Like, 6 months in, what do you wish you would have known? What would you tell yourself 6 months ago, 8 months ago, 9 months ago when you were considering this or before you pulled the trigger? Like, what do you wish you would have known?
Well, I'll tell you, the numbers obviously not a big part of it. For me, it was more about this whole big change of joining something when I was independent. But I just feel like every minute that you didn't make the decision is
Mm,
wasted. Like I feel like I wish I would have done this immediately, but I just wasn't there yet. So I'm not going to beat
sure.
myself up over it. But once you get into, so we hear what people want to tell us about real. You and I had many conversations, but until I was actually like in it and having conversations with other agents, outside of our own team and with other brokerages, and we are out actually living this model with
Right.
real. It never really made 100% sense. And even the numbers, the craziest thing was I never even realized, like, I used to look at my numbers and think, okay, I'm missing a certain percentage because it's going to real. And I had to figure out how to work that out. But I never calculated in the silliest thing, which is I get 5%, or I get the tier one revenue share from my
Mm.
team. So as a team owner, like that was something I just didn't even figure it out until I got in, started doing transactions. And then also, like I said, seeing what a great fit it is for people in other brokerages. So, and how it could be life changing and their whole financial picture changes and things like that. I really didn't have that capacity to understand until
Right.
I was actually having those conversations, because I had only thought about my own independent brokerage situation. But when I
Right.
started having people reach out to me and telling me talk about real and things like that, and I started sitting down with people, it was like mind blowing to me, because we always had really low fees and structures and things very
Sure.
similar to real. So I didn't ever have that conversation like this. And now it's like, it's so empowering. Like the whole real model, it empowers people to do things that maybe they're thinking about doing, like building out their own team, things like that. And it makes it just such a clear pathway for them. So I just think like, I never understood really the magnitude of what it meant to be at Real until I was in it.
Yeah. No, I love that. So talk about the award. What happened? Was it yesterday?
It was yesterday, Realtor of the Year for our area.
What?
So
That's
that's
great.
amazing. Yeah. I mean, it's exciting after all this time. I'm pretty passionate. You know me, I'm like, work so hard and do all that. So it's nice to be recognized for that. It's good.
Absolutely. That is well deserved. So let me just tell anyone that's watching this, listening to this 6 months from now, whatever. Tamara is somebody you want in your world. Like if you're curious about anything you heard here, don't call me. Call her, hit her up. Tamara, what's the best way to get a hold of you?
You can, send me a message on Instagram. All my contact information is on there too. My link tree's got everything. So, just feel free. And honestly, I'm super transparent. I'll tell you everything that I went through. But if you're on the fence at all, like I said, my only regret was that I really should have thought and taken it more seriously, because I missed out on a whole year of building this, and it's just been super, amazing for me. And I just, I look forward to the future, and I look forward to growing more. And I updated my goals as to how many agents I was going to add.
Well, and I think about this. I think like there was this moment in time, and my wife and I watch 1923, which is like a Yellowstone, like, anyways, prequel. And there's this moment of time where like the automobile exists and people are still riding horses. And it's like, I just wonder myself, I would have been like the first guy to go buy a Model T or whatever. And I would have looked at people on horses like, are you guys crazy? Like, this is amazing. I'm not getting chafed. Like, I'm going faster than you. Like, it's awesome, right? And it's so hard because culture means a lot to us. And like, I don't blow people up like, hey, I know you're there and you should be here. Like, I just don't do that.
Right.
But it's so hard when you're like, you're still doing transactions and the cost of our brokerage is really great. And there's additional revenue coming in the form of revenue share. And if you do enough deals, you're transitioning what you pay into the brokerage and getting it back in stock. And it's like, I feel like I'm driving this car and there's
Stop
just an
it,
industry full
blow
of
up.
horses. Yeah. And I'm
Don't.
like, guys, like get in, like what,
Yeah.
but I love that you make yourself available. I would just recommend like confidential curiosity. Like if you're confidentially curious, hit up Tamara. She's not going to put you on like blast and say like, hey, so and so just hit me up. Just hit her up and go like, hey, I'm in Wisconsin and I've got a team of 10 or a brokerage of 40. Like, what do the actual numbers look like? She's going to be so great at helping you. Tamara, I'm grateful to have you in this world.
Thank
The
you.
easiest way to explain it to people is like, Tamara is my granddaughter at this company, and I'm so honored to be with you. I'm so grateful for you, and I'm
Thank
so
you.
excited for the future. Are you coming to Rise in San Diego?
Yes, of course. Can't wait. I'm trying to get more people from my team going because I do think like if you're at all, I know we got to go, but if you're at all like on the fence about anything, getting involved in one of these events and just feeling what it is, the energy and what this is all about will be a game changer for you. Like you will have no doubt in your mind if you try to get involved, and Rise is going to be incredible. So that would be a great opportunity. It's only a few weeks away.
Totally agree. Thanks, Tamara.
Thank you.